What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I am here with you today to make my preview video for the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Miami Dolphins. So in case you guys don't know, I always put my titles with the home team and then the away team. That's why I say it like that. So it's an away game for us, home game for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We will be going to play them in their stadium tomorrow, because we play them on Thursday Night Football, so it's a primetime game. The entire nation will be watching, so hopefully we can put on a good performance. I will say that again, going into this season, I expected the defense actually to be the ones to hold us in games and really anchor us, but unfortunately the defense has been extremely disappointing to this point. Hopefully they can improve. We'll see. And so far it's looking like those high-priced free agents on the defensive side, that's where we spent most of our money in free agency, are not panning out, at least through 2 games. And injury is part of it, right? So Byron Jones, the high-priced free agent corner we brought in, he's injured. He's likely not going to play in this game. I think that we'll get to it in a minute, the injury report, but I think, Shaq Lawson has something going on, but he's not really performing all that well to this point. Landon Roberts also, I'm not sure if he's going to play or not. I don't know if he's out of the concussion protocol, but he got hurt and hasn't really done much so far. So, defensively, the additions don't look to be panning out so well. To this point, it's only through 2 games, so hopefully they can turn it around. If the injuries keep stacking up, though, unfortunately, that will not likely happen, but we'll see. Although, like I said, I thought it was going to be the defense. It happens to be the offense. So it's going to be massively important for the offense to keep going as they are. I mean, they certainly want to improve because they have a lot that they also need to improve on as well. Let's not get carried away and say that, oh, the offense is really humming, blah, blah, blah. They're not. They're doing a lot better than I would have expected, but still have a lot of things that they need to clean up. But it will give them an opportunity in this game, especially once we get into the stats and the league standings for both of the teams. You'll see that there certainly will be an opportunity. I think that this is probably going to be a more offense-oriented game as opposed to defensively. And there is potential for it to be high scoring. So, like I said, there's definitely going to be some opportunities. Let's go ahead and get into the actual details, though. First, I want to give you the injury report. The injury report for today, the last one is supposed to come out today, but it's not going to come out until later this afternoon. It's only 10 a.m. or just about 10 a.m. here as of me making this video. So it's not, the official report's not going to be out, in time for me to make this. So I'm just going to give you Tuesday's report and we're going to go from there. And then, obviously tomorrow during the live stream or whatever, I'll give you the inactives and I'll give you the updated injury report information. So, we know before the game actually kicks off. But we do obviously have a good idea. So going into this game against the Jags as of yesterday, let's see. Let's start from the top. Miami Dolphins are on a short week as they face the Jags. Cornerback Byron Jones seems unlikely to play. The superstar free agent acquisition picked up a groin injury. He went into that game with an ankle injury. So now he's got an ankle and a groin. And I've had a groin injury myself that's lingered ever since and actually has caused me, some mild chronic issues, subsequent to that. Of course, I don't have, first of all, I don't have access to any health care at all. I don't have insurance or anything like that. So I can't go to the doctor, period. And I'm poor, so I don't have money. But, that aside, he probably, or could likely, I don't know. They haven't said anything about him needing surgery, but if he needed it, he could get it. Point is I can't, which sucks. But he can. So if he did need it, he could get it. But let's see. Several other players were listed on the injury report with various ailments. Safety Clayton Fedulum with a pectoral, cornerback Xavier Howard with a knee, defensive end Shaq Lawson with a hip. And I mean, that's not good for him with what he is. You know, he's like a pass rushing linebacker essentially. I mean, he's listed as a defensive end and he does play some, but he's kind of a, you know, in the defense that we run, he's kind of like a pass rushing defensive end / linebacker. And him having a hip issue is not good. Obviously, our top corner, Xavier Howard, with a knee injury is not good. And wide receiver, Devontae Parker, with a hamstring. They were all limited Tuesday. A few Dolphins players got in full practice sessions, but are still listed on the team's report as dealing with injuries. Those players including running back Matt Breida with an ankle, wide receiver Jakeem Grant with shoulder, defensive end Emmanuel Ogbah with an ankle, linebacker Landon Roberts, concussion, and linebacker Kyle Van Noy with a hand. So like our entire defense too is beat up, not to mention a few people on the offense, including like half our wide receivers at this point. So, you know, it's rough. But look, you know, the entire league, I mean, I went through them a little bit, I think in my post-game analysis video. There were just an incredible amount of injuries. Hopefully everybody stays healthy this week, but that is obviously something that we will keep an eye on in this game going forward, and obviously every game for the rest of the season as long as it lasts. But we definitely can't afford to lose anybody in this game, so hopefully we all stay healthy, because if we start losing people, then look, I mean, it's going to be a tough game. They are a good team, they are a good overall team, but their offense is, I do think that their offense is more high-powered than ours is, like unquestionably. Even though our offense has been playing solid, they definitely have the overall better offense. And also, too, with the way our defense has been playing, so far at least, I would say they have the better defense. Anyway, real quick, Jacksonville's report as of Tuesday. According to this report, they hadn't put their Tuesday's report out yet, so this is as of Monday for them. Wide receiver DJ Chark with a chest and tight end Tyler Davis with a knee were limited. Center Brandon Linder with a knee and safety Benjamin Watson with an illness were listed as unable to participate. So their center, Brandon Linder, that actually will be very interesting to see what his status will be for this game and whether or not he'll be able to play. DJ Chark is one of their top receivers, so that'll be interesting to keep an eye on. But they have tons of playmakers, and you know, even if they were to miss Chark, the center I think actually would be more important, but missing Chark would be pretty big too. All right, let's actually get into the stats and the statistics here, though. So the Dolphins obviously are going into this game 0-2. Unfortunately, the Jags are going in 1-1. They beat the Colts in week 1, 27-20. And they gave the Titans a damn good run for their money yesterday. They lost only 33-30. It came down to the wire. Like I said, they gave them a fight. And as a matter of fact, they bottled the shit out of Derrick Henry. They shut him down, which is concerning, which is very concerning, because if we can't get a run game going at all, if they could shut Derrick Henry down the way they did, and if we're unable to get a run game going at all, well, that could actually spell a very long day for our offense. So that's a concern, because if our offense then becomes one-dimensional and then is incapable of, you know, pushing the ball downfield and you know, putting together long drives, scoring points, well, then it could actually end up being a really one-sided game in favor of the Jags. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully the offense can maintain the course they've been on, and hopefully the defense can pick it up, because they really need to. All right, so as far as league standings go, offensively, the Dolphins, as far as points per game, in week 1, obviously we're only 2 weeks in, so the sample size is still small. Let's just keep that, you know, in mind here. But week 1, we were, you know, only scored 11 points. After week 2, we increased that to 19.5, so that's good. That also took us from 32nd in the league up to 26th. So that's solid. They're scoring, though, 28.5 points per game, which is 11th. So obviously there's a bit of a disparity there. We will have to close that gap in this game if we're going to hope to win. Yards per game in game 1 we had 269, but now with the 2 in the books, we have 339.5 per game, which is definitely a pretty good increase. We need to keep that. Again, we want to make sure that we get at least 300 and 100 passing yards, and then or 200, 100 at least, to have a decent offense. 200 passing yards, 100 rushing yards, 300 plus total. You obviously want to do better than that, but that's the minimum threshold, right? To have an okay average offense. We need to do better, and so far the offense is actually trending like they could do that. They need to keep it up. Anyway, so with that, we go from 28th in the league to 22nd. They are 20th in the league with 360.5 yards per game. Passing yards, we went from 182 to 246.5 per game. So that goes from 28th in the league to 17th. That was actually our largest jump. And like I said, overall, it's showing that our offense is trending through 2 games in the right direction. They are 21st in the league at 232.5. Rush yards, we went from 87 to 93 per game after the 2. That did drop us, though. We went from 24th in the league to 27th. So that was the first stat that we had that actually made us drop a bit in overall league standings. So like I said, we definitely need to improve upon our run game in the offense. Honestly, that's probably the biggest point of emphasis. If they can balance the offensive attack out better with a better running game overall, and start breaking that 100-yard mark, that will be huge. There's some other things obviously that go into it, but that will help them take it to the next level. But so we went from 24th to 27th. They are 128 per game so far through the 2. That's 12th in the league. So obviously overall they still do have us beat offensively in most statistics, but we are relatively even matched so far just through 2 games. So that does give me some hope and optimism for this game. Defensively, after 1 game we were giving up 21 points, 21 points, and after 2 it's 26. So obviously that's not the direction we want to go in, right? We want to give less points per game, and that took us from 14th in the league down to 18th. They're giving up 26.5 points, so that's good. Again, shows some potential room for optimism for our offense if they're gonna give up that many points, and can maybe potentially help keep us in the game if we're able to score that many points. But anyway, that's 19th in the league. Yards allowed, we went from 357 after the first game to 440.5 after game 2. Obviously a large increase there, and totally the wrong direction. That's almost a 100-yard increase, and that dropped us from 13th in the league to 30th in the league. So that's a huge drop, right? They are giving up 399.5, which is 23rd, and I told you this was going to happen, right? And especially after we saw what happened in the Bills game. So remember, after the Patriots game, we were first in the league in passing yards, having given up only 140, but we were last in the league, 32nd, after giving up 217 yards on the ground, rushing yards allowed, right? Well, this week, or after week 2, when you average it all in, we went from 140 passing yards to 276.5, right? Because we gave up like 410 yards in the air last week, which is extremely concerning, right? Especially now that we're going to not have Byron Jones going into this game. But that's a 136.5 yard difference. That's incredible. Well, we still gave up over 100 yards on the ground as well. That dropped us from first in the league all the way down to 26th. Huge, precipitous, right? We just free fall to 26th. It's just after 2 games. Again, hopefully we can balance it out and improve. But we'll see. The defense is massively struggling. Conversely, though, when it comes to rushing yards, we went from 217 after the one game to 164 average for the two. So it's not nearly as precipitous of a drop in the yards per game. And when it comes to the league standings, we only rose 3 spots from 32nd to 29th. So obviously, again, the defense has some serious concerns that they need to address quickly. Unfortunately, you know, and especially with the injuries that are mounting, particularly on defense, you know, it's concerning. Anyway, they are giving up 105.5 on the ground, and that's 10th in the league. They're giving up 294 through the air. That's 30th in the league. So there is, again, some, you know, room for optimism, but we're just, you know, we're going to have to wait and see. Okay, so now for just real quick to give you, you know, the overall stats from our previous game, ours against the Bills, theirs against the Titans. We had 410 total yards. They had 480. We had 311 passing yards, which is great. They had 315, 99 rushing yards. So you're basically there at the threshold. You want to do better, but they're basically there. They need to maintain that and keep it pushing, right? They need to do better. But they had 165 yards on the ground, right? We were 5.7 yards per play. They were 6.5. Neither team gave up a fumble. We didn't throw any interceptions, but they threw 2. But Gardner Minshew, man, I gotta say, that dude was balling out. I did watch the game, and he's impressive, man. And he just, when he makes mistakes, he just comes out and he corrects it, and he fucking... And he moves on, man. And, like, he doesn't continue to make mistakes. He fixes it and he moves on. We were 41% on third downs, which was better than game 1. But still, we need to improve. We want to get it at least past 50 on average per game. They were 71% on third downs. That's incredible. We had the ball for 31 minutes and 5 seconds. They had it for 33-22, so a slight edge there. We had 3 penalties. They had 8. We'll see how that plays out in this game. Obviously, we had them beat there, though. For Ryan Fitzpatrick was 31 of 47 for 66%, 328 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a 100.3 passer rating. On the season now, for 2 games, he is 66.2% completion percentage, 519 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and a 77.8 passer rating. On the other hand, Gardner Minshew was 30 of 45 in his last game, 66.7% completion percentage, 339 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a 92.7 passer rating. And on the season, he is 75.4% completion percentage, 512 yards, 6 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Obviously, his overall stat line is considerably better than Ryan Fitzpatrick's. Even though they had relatively similar stats in their previous games. And he's got a 117.5 passer rating on the season. Rushing, Myles Gaskin led the way for us, 7 for 46 and a 6.6 average. Matt Breida, 7 for 37 and a 5.3. Fitzpatrick had 3 for 12 and a 4 average. Jordan Howard, 5 for 4 yards, 1 touchdown and a 0.8. James Robinson led the way. This dude is electric. I'm telling you, man, we have to contain this motherfucker. But so is Laviska Shenault and a bunch of their other playmakers, man. They really have playmakers. But in the run game particularly, James Robinson is a running back. He had 16 rushes for 102 yards, a touchdown, and a 6.4 average. Laviska Shenault had 5 rushes, 37 yards, and a 7.4 average. He is primarily a wide receiver, and he does get in the receiving game as well. But he is a dual threat and definitely somebody we have to maintain control of as well. Unfortunately, though, I get the feeling that they have too many weapons and our defense is massively struggling. I mean, they have to show an immense turnaround in this game if they're gonna have, you know, if they're gonna want to stop this offense. Gardner Minshew threw in another 4 rushes for 19 yards and a 4.8. In the receiving game, Mike Gesicki led the way for us, 8 for 11, 130 yards and a score. Isaiah Ford, 7 of 9, 76 yards. Devontae Parker, 5 of 8, 53 and a touchdown. He has to fucking start dominating games, though. He's got to get... Look, he put out a bold statement, you know, like yesterday or whatever, saying that he's not going to miss any games. I think he should be careful making statements like that. He's basing it off of, one, his desire, which is great, But 2, also just the current injury he has. Who's to say he's not going to sustain some injury taking a hit, right? We don't know. I mean, he could end up getting a concussion and miss a game, right? Hopefully not, but we don't know. He just shouldn't make those kind of declarative statements so early in a massively injury-riddled season when he also is currently dealing with an injury. Anyway, he needs to fucking dominate, though. We need him to step it up. So I hope he does. Myles Gaskin, 6 of 7, 36 yards. Preston Williams, 1 of 5 for 26 yards. On the other side, DJ Chark was 4 of 4 for 84 yards. Keelan Cole, 6 of 7 for 58 and a touchdown. Chris Conley, 4 of 7, 48. James O'Shaughnessy, 4 of 4 for 40 yards. Tyler Eifert, 3 of 6 for 36 yards and a score. Laviska Shenault, 3 of 4 for 35 yards. Chris Thompson, 3 of 4 for 20 yards and a score. And James Robinson, 3 of 4 for 18. I mean, right there in the receiving game, that's like all their playmakers, right, on offense. But look at them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players that we're going to have to fucking keep at least. And then, of course, Gardner Minshew as well. Man, I mean, they got so many people for us to fucking worry about. I don't know. We're going to have a tough time. Anyway, defensively, we had 1 sack, no tackles for loss, a forced fumble, fumble recovery, no interceptions, and 2 passes defensed. They were similar stats overall. 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss, no forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, or interceptions, but 2 passes defensed. There's really a couple ways that this game can go. I'm going to, man, it's difficult to say, right? So there's a couple, I think that there is a couple ways that this can work. I think either, the Dolphins offense is going to at least continue to play like they've been playing, and the defense is going to pick it up and, help to keep them in this game, maybe some, I don't know, penalties or, whatever, spin of the ball, whatever it is, right? The bounce of the ball, maybe some things will go our way, along the way of the game and help keep us in. But I do think that there is a possibility for it to be a blowout, in favor of the Jags. Based off, though, there is some opportunity. There is going to be some opportunity for our offense, and they have been playing pretty well overall. The defense does concern me, but I am going to say that this is going to be a relatively close game. Let's say, I think both teams will probably get into the 20s. Let's say it'll be I don't know, man, like a 27-24, I guess. 27-24 Jags. How about that? 27-24 Jags. It's so hard to fucking predict games, man. Like, it really is, because there are just so many, especially this year. I mean, it's the case with, every year, every game, blah, blah, blah. But it's just because there's so many factors that you just can't account for. But anyway, that's going to be my guess. Unfortunately, I do think it is going to be a loss for the Dolphins. Because I'm not sure that they're going to be able to handle this Jacksonville Jaguars team and get the win. But they have shown some spunk and some fight. Fitzpatrick is going to have a clean game. If we are going to stick in this game, and if we are going to hope to maybe, get a dub, Fitzpatrick definitely is going to have a clean game. Our run game on offense needs to pick it up. I mean, the whole offense needs to at least maintain the level of play that they've been playing at and improve at least a little bit, and the defense really needs to pick it up. And we got to stop the run first and foremost, and then do our best on the back end to cover and so on and so forth. They just got so many weapons, man. All right, anyway, I'm not gonna keep fucking going in circles and rehashing all the dilemmas and back and forths I have going on in my own head. And I'm gonna end it there before I drag on. It's gonna be a tough game. I do ultimately think that on a short week, missing Byron Jones with the defense playing as poorly as they have been, et cetera, I think it's gonna be, a tough game. but one that we can certainly have a chance at and we can keep ourselves in. Ultimately, I think it's going to be a narrow loss. What I say, 27-24, so just off of a field goal there. And look, you know, honestly, I'm going to keep it real. That won't be terrible. Even with I mean, it will be a third loss, so that obviously will suck. And then we have really, really tough games on the schedule after that, you know. So, I mean, because then we have the Seahawks, the 49ers, Broncos, Chargers, Rams. So we got a lot of tough games to follow that. This is, you know, whatever. So a third loss obviously would suck. But it would show definitely some improvements on the offense. Yeah, anyway, you guys get it. That's where I'm going to wrap it. I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed, appreciate my perspectives. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comments section. And of course, as always, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.